Imagine waking up one morning, stepping outside with a cup of coffee, and discovering a bright orange violation notice slapped onto your mailbox. Not for breaking a rule, not for damaging property, but for using the road. Yes, the road. The same piece of asphalt that cars have rolled across for decades. The same pavement that leads to every driveway on the street. Apparently, according to the HOA, I was now in violation for touching it. And no, I hadn't done donuts, hosted a parade, or turned it into a racetrack. My crime? Driving to my own house. Now, to truly understand the insanity that would follow, you need to know one thing. I live in a quiet, suburban community. A peaceful cul-de-sac. Families, kids riding bikes, retirees walking dogs. The occasional barbecue. Nothing dramatic. Until Karen, our self-appointed enforcer of all that is petty, found a new hobby, issuing fines for absolutely anything. Mailbox too shiny? Violation. Grass 1 inch taller than regulation height? Warning letter. Smile at her the wrong way? She'd find a clause. But even by her standards, this was new. I remember staring at the notice in disbelief. Unauthorized usage of HOA roadway. C9. C Fine. $250. I thought it was a prank. I even laughed. But then came the email. Stern, formal, dripping with faux authority. According to Karen, the HOA board had passed a road protection rule. And because I did not request permission to access community pavement, I now owed them money. I marched to the HOA office ready to reason. Instead, I walked into a storm. Karen sat behind the desk, like she was guarding the gates of heaven. Except instead of angel wings, she had a clipboard, an arresting frown that could curdle milk. Before I could explain, she slid a binder toward me. Thick, overstuffed. Brittle with printed rules I swear she wrote herself. Homeowners must apply for roadway access approval, she said, like she was quoting sacred law. You use the road without authorization. I stared at her. You mean? I drove to my house. She smiled. The kind of smile villains have when they think they've already won. Yes, and you owe the HOA $250. I had two options. Pay the fine or fight. I chose to fight. And I had no idea just how badly that decision would wreck her world. I left that HOA office with steam practically shooting out of my ears. Who fines someone for using a road? But the more I thought about it, the more I knew there had to be something deeper. After all, roads don't magically belong to HOAs. They're either private, public, or jointly maintained. And something about Karen's confidence felt off. Not official, not legal, just loud. Loud enough to scare everyone else into obedience. But I don't scare easy. So instead of paying, I went digging. I pulled out old home purchase paperwork. County records, property maps, everything. I spent hours searching, cross-referencing, highlighting. And then I found it. An old document buried inside a digital archive. A property easement deed dated 30 years ago. I leaned closer. My eyes widened. The road, the one Karen claimed belonged to the HOA, was never transferred to them. It wasn't HOA property. It was on private easement land, registered in my name. At first I thought I read it wrong. I checked again, then I compared parcel numbers, legal descriptions, signatures. It was all there. Somewhere in the history of this neighborhood, a land developer had assigned temporary road rights, and they simply never updated the plat. The HOA assumed, claimed, and enforced without ever owning it. I didn't just have permission to use the road. I legally owned it. Suddenly, every petty rule, every smug grin, every power trip email from Karen took on a whole new meaning. Because now, I wasn't just a homeowner fighting a fine. I was the owner of the very road the HOA was trying to control. I printed everything, highlighted sections, laminated copies. Yes, I laminated. This moment deserved plastic. Then I emailed the board asking for a formal hearing. Karen replied instantly, probably excited to humiliate me. See you Friday at 9 a.m. sharp. Friday came. I wore my calmest face. the face of someone who brought paperwork to a sword fight. Karen, in her favorite blazer of doom, wasted no time. "Have you come prepared to pay your fine?" she asked sweetly. I slid the deed across the table. Her smile vanished. The board members leaned in. Their eyes darted across the page. Whispering started. One gasped. Karen's face, priceless. She snapped, "This can't be real." "Oh, it's real," I said. "And technically, you've been trespassing every time you drive on my road." Silence, heavy, glorious. And then everything exploded. Chaos, pure chaos. The boardroom erupted like someone threw a match into a pile of fireworks. Papers shuffled, voices rose. And Karen, the iron-fisted queen of HOA, order, suddenly looked like someone had unplugged her power source. "We need legal review," she barked, but it didn't matter. The board was already cornered. One member, Tom, nervously flipped through the deed again. It does say private easement," he muttered. "And the plat number matches." Another whispered, "So the HOA never actually owned the road?" Karen shot them both a death glare sharp enough to cut steel. "It's a clerical error," she insisted, grasping at authority like it was slipping through her fingers. "We've always controlled the road." I leaned back, calm. "Control," I said slowly, "requires ownership or legal transfer. You have neither, which means not only can't you fine me." I paused for dramatic flair. "But technically, you've been collecting dues for road maintenance on property you don't own?" Gasps. Someone dropped a pen. Tom's jaw hit the table. Karen's eye twitched. She tried to speak but only squeaked. I pressed on. "I don't want to escalate this," I continued. "But if we're talking fines," I pulled out a pre-drafted notice just for fun. "You owe me for unauthorized use of private roadway, retroactively, 30 years worth. At that moment, if looks could kill, I'd be in a documentary." Karen slammed her hand down. "You can't do that," she shouted. "I am filing a complaint with county zoning and—" She didn't finish. The board president, who had been quiet until now, cleared his throat. "Karen, sit down." She froze. He turned to me. "What do you want to resolve this?" There it was. The shift. The power tilt. The moment bullies realize they're not the sheriff, they're the outlaw. "I want the fine dismissed," I began. "The road status corrected, and a public acknowledgement that the rule was invalid." Karen hissed like a deflating balloon, but the president nodded. "Consider it done." The motion passed. Karen looked like someone stole her oxygen, but I wasn't finished. "And one more thing. Any future rule changes involving community access? They go to homeowner vote first." The room approved. Karen's reign crumbled. I walked out with my head high. For once, I felt like justice existed in HOA land. Little did I know, Karen wasn't done. She was about to take this fight nuclear. You would think, after being legally dismantled and publicly embarrassed, Karen might retreat, reflect, maybe take a hobby, knitting, gardening, therapy. But no, Karen doubled down like a villain in a soap opera who refuses to die, despite falling off a cliff 3 times. 2 days later, I found a note taped to my door. "Cease using road until ownership is clarified." Her handwriting looked like anger with a pen. Then came emails. Then a group message to neighbors claiming I stole community property. Soon, whispers started. 3 houses down, someone avoided eye contact. Another neighbor asked, unsure, "So, do you own the road or not?" Karen's smear campaign had begun. Luckily, I had receipts. I printed the easement deed, county confirmation, and HOA meeting notes, then dropped copies in every neighbor's mailbox. I also called the county office. They confirmed in writing that the road was privately deeded until the HOA filed a legal transfer request. The truth hit the neighborhood like sunlight on vampires. Karen's credibility evaporated, but karma wasn't done. A week later, a county inspector showed up. Not for me, for the HOA. Turns out, falsely claiming public infrastructure without legal transfer paperwork is frowned upon. Very frowned upon. The HOA faced an audit, questions, and potential penalties. And who orchestrated the problem? Karen. Neighbors suddenly saw the truth. She wasn't protecting us. She was power tripping. And when the board called an emergency vote for leadership restructuring, the result was poetic. Karen was removed. I didn't gloat. I didn't cheer. But when she stormed past my house on the day she cleared out her HOA office box, muttering about ungrateful residents, I may have enjoyed the moment a little. Okay, a lot. The road eventually transferred legally, voted by homeowners, and this time properly maintained with transparency. And me? I negotiated a condition in writing. No homeowner can be fined for simply accessing community streets ever again. Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, like tires rolling on a road you own. Calm, controlled, and completely free from bad HOA energy. And that infamous orange violation notice, framed, hanging in my hallway. A reminder, when someone tries to bully you with fake rules, facts win. So next time someone threatens you with authority they don't have, remember, always check the paperwork. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Your support keeps these real stories coming.